continuing resolution that will eliminate the possibility of a government shutdown tonight. The CR we're voting on will keep the government funded until December 3rd, provide funding to help process and resettle Afghan refugees, and finally deliver on critical disaster aid for Americans battered by the storms and wildfires this summer. As part of today's agreement, we'll hold a vote series starting at 10:30 this morning on 3 amendments offered by Senators Cotton, Marshall, and Braun. We will hold a vote on final passage soon thereafter, and I'm confident the House will approve this measure later this afternoon and send it to the President's desk before funding runs out. This is a good outcome, one I'm happy we are getting done. With so many things to take care of here in Washington, the last thing the American people need is for the government to grind to a halt. But of course, we have more work to do. Just as our Republican colleagues realize that a government shutdown would be catastrophic, they should realize that a default on the national debt would be even worse. I will have more to say on this later. Now on nominations. Now, despite a week marked by Republican obstruction, the Senate is making great progress on our responsibility to confirm President Biden's nominees to his administration. Last week, a handful of members made a scene here on the Senate floor in a doomed effort to stymie a number of nominees critical to our national defense. I'm glad to say that over the course of the week, we've successfully confirmed these individuals, despite the theatrics from that handful of Republican senators. This chamber will not allow anyone to hijack the confirmation process to score political points and to prevent these nominations from being approved. It will not happen. We will move forward. It'll take a little more time, but we will get it done. Today, the Senate will keep going. After passing the CR, we will turn to the nomination of Rohit Chopra to serve as the director of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Mr. Chopra is the right man to lead this agency, tasked with protecting Americans from predatory financial institutions. He is a veteran of the CFPB from the Obama years, where he specialized in protecting students from unscrupulous practices of student loan providers. Under President Trump, who didn't give a hoot about the average person, the CFPB spent more time protecting the likes of payday lenders and for-profit colleges than American consumers. With Mr. Chopra's confirmation, the CFPB will return to fighting on the side of the American worker instead of big financial institutions. I look forward to his confirmation today. After that, we'll turn to the nomination of Tracy Stone Manning to lead the Bureau of Land Management. Few agencies are as important for protecting and promoting America's public lands. And in the years to come, the BLM will play an even greater strategic role in our government's effort to fight climate change. Ms. Stone Manning is a familiar face here in the Senate. She served as a staffer for Senator Tester before moving to Montana to work for then-Governor Bullock. As head of Montana's environmental agency, she earned a reputation not only as a skilled policymaker, but also as an honest broker, one who commanded the respect of conservationists and ranchers alike. Of course, you'd never guess that by listening to some of the histrionics coming from the other side. Unable to disqualify Ms. Stone Manning on the merits, which are so obvious to just about anyone who studies it, some of our Republican colleagues have used her nomination to launch cheap, out-of-context attacks. Thankfully, no one is taking these attacks seriously. Because of her exceptional qualifications, Tracy Stone Manning has broad support of the Democratic caucus to lead the BLM, and I expect her nomination to be approved later today. Finally, I'm also pleased that today President Biden is announcing the nomination of another outstanding judge from my home state, Dale Ho, to serve as district judge for the Southern District of New York. Like so many of President Biden's judicial nominees, Mr. Ho is a prominent civil rights lawyer and voting rights expert. A graduate of Yale and Princeton, a veteran of the NAACP and the ACLU, Mr. Ho would bring an impressive resume to the judiciary, And I'm thrilled President Biden has taken my advice to nominate Mr. Ho, and I look forward to working on his confirmation. And in a more general note on this issue, I'm proud that the Senate is not only increasing the demographic diversity on the bench, more women, more people of color, more individuals from immigrant families, but also its occupational diversity as well, voting rights experts, civil rights lawyers, public defenders, and more. This is how we work to strengthen not only the diversity in our judiciary, but the trust that it represents all Americans. Finally, on the debt limit. Once again, just as our Republican colleagues realized that a government shutdown would be catastrophic, they should realize that a default on the national debt would be even worse. Throughout American history, the federal government has consistently paid its debt on time. This unbroken promise is what's made the United States the leading economy in the world for so long, benefiting countless millions of families. So when we talk about extending the debt limit, that is what is at stake. All week long, Senate Democrats presented our Republican colleagues with reasonable proposals to prevent a default from happening. We offered to hold a simple majority vote so Democrats could fix the debt ceiling ourselves. They rejected that offer. We're not even asking Republicans to vote yes, even though we know they should, but instead just to get out of the way, and let us keep America's faith and credit, and let us keep the faith and credit in America's finances intact. Unfortunately, Republicans spent the weeks solidifying themselves as the party of default, the party that says America doesn't pay its bills, the party that would send our economy into unknown and dangerous territory. On Monday, Republicans unanimously blocked a measure that would have funded the government and raised the debt ceiling. On Tuesday, the Republican leader blocked a proposal to raise the debt ceiling with only Democratic votes, exactly what Republicans insisted they wanted from the start. By Wednesday, it was clear that Republicans were committed not only to voting in favor of default, but even preventing Democrats from solving this crisis on our own. Every day that Republicans continue their cynical obstruction, they risk causing irreparable harm to the economy. The last time Republicans played games with the full faith and credit of the United States, our sovereign debt was downgraded. This time around, the consequences for American families could be far worse. So, despite Republican intransigence, the facts have not changed. We must raise the debt ceiling. We cannot allow America to default. Yesterday, the House approved legislation providing for a clean debt limit extension until the end of 2022. At the appropriate time, I'll move to proceed to its consideration, which could come as early as next week. But by now, we are not asking Republicans to vote with us to solve the debt limit crisis they've created. If they want to oppose this measure and bring us closer to financial disaster, they can write their names in the history books as the senator who would let the country default for the first time ever. But Republicans need to get out of the way so Senate Democrats can address the issue quickly and without needlessly endangering the stability of our economy. We cannot afford the risk of a drawn-out, unpredictable process sought by the minority leader, which could very well actually cause a default. No, the way we resolve this crisis is much, much simpler. Either Republicans snap out of their insane position and work with Democrats, or they get out of the way while we solve the problem ourselves. Madam President, I ask unanimous consent that the previously scheduled votes begin at 11:05 and that all provisions of the previous order remain in effect.
Without objection.
Madam President, I yield the floor to the distinguished Senate Pro Tem. No? Oh. I yield the floor.